Agent Zboril was in Tampa, but not in Dallas, and still shoulders guilt.
I thought if I had been there, maybe history would have been a little different.
Really thick on certain parts. And
if Don and I were on the back of the car, and it landed on the follow-up car, we wouldn't have known about it.
Oh, okay. See, what I'm thinking is, because Sam was telling me something to the effect where, I guess Floyd Boring on this trip, what he would do is, intermittently, the agents would go back to the fob car, or, I don't know, is that, I don't know.
I thought Roy Kellerman was in the front seat of the limo, not Boring.
On the Florida trip?
Yeah, on the Tampa trip.
Oh, okay.
I thought that it was Roy Kellerman, not Floyd Boring, in the car.
Okay, well, you would know best. You were there, I wasn't.
Doesn't it mention Roy Kellerman?
No, like it's the document say, AIC, I guess it's Assistant Special Agent in Charge?
Yeah.
Okay, Floyd M. Boring, driver William R. Greer, Charles T. Zboril yourself, Donald J. Lawton, what's his name? Kenneth S. Gianolis?
Ken Gianolis.
Okay. It says Miami office, Charlie Howell
out of Miami. Chuck Zboril.
Yeah, Mr. Zboril.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing, sir? My name's, I was speaking to your wife. She gave me your work number.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was calling in reference to President Kennedy's trip to Tampa, Florida. I was letting your wife know, and I guess she wanted me to get your number to let you know that a whole bunch of documents have been released from the National Archives recently related to President Kennedy's trip to Tampa, Florida. And make a long story short, a whole bunch of photos from White House photographer Cecil Stoughton.
Yes, I remember Cecil very well.
Yes. Well, they show photos of you and Mr. Donald Lawton. The captions, it says Agent Zboril and Lawton, rear of limousine has agents Boring. It talks about birth to freeze, a whole bunch of documents.
Where were birth to freeze? Mike, you're with Public Affairs?
No. I'm just a young. I right out of college. I'm just doing something. Basically, my whole interest has always been on the presidents, basically from FDR up to like Reagan. But in particular, I've been really interested in the Secret Service in general, especially from the time period. I think that's the golden age, like from FDR up to basically up to Reagan, maybe even just downwards to LBJ. But make a long story short. I haven't been one of those conspiracy buffs or assassination people. What I've been interested in is presidential trips and the dealings with the presidents. So, like, with Eisenhower being a very military-oriented person.
How did you happen to get my name and telephone? My telephone number.
Oh, okay, from Donald Lawton.
Oh, from Don Lawton.
Yeah, I spoke to him first.
Okay,
yeah.
Don Lawton and I were the two agents who were on the back of the car on the trip to Tampa that particular year. Yes.
Yeah, he told me to send his back. He said, "Don't call him Charles, call him Chuck." That's what he said.
I haven't talked to Don in a long time.
Yeah, he said he does. Don't you know? He says, we get together for yearly conventions. I was like, oh, okay. I know. It was the only other person I spoke to was Sam Kenny down in Florida.
Sam Kenny,
Yeah.
Sam Kenny was the driver.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, he's a real nice guy. He basically told me that, I get bugged from time to time for a whole bunch of people. He told me he talked to me that I wasn't born at that time. He says, I could tell you're of age, and I would hang up the phone right now. I said, oh, really? I said, okay, because, I'm only 25, so I was like, oh, okay. But, basically, my whole interest is because I'm formerly from Tampa, Florida, from that area, so it's just really fascinating to me that, President Kennedy visited that city. He just went to Miami and Palm Beach, and, just one of the, I think everybody seems to focus ad nauseum on the, the assassination, the tragedy. My focus has always been on the background, on the other trips, and I just found it fascinating, just the whole, I don't know. I've just been very interested in Secret Service.
Those documents have now been released by the archives?
Yes, they have.
And the pictures have been released?
Yes, they have. They have Cecil Stoughton's call numbers. They have all the serial numbers and all that type of stuff.
I didn't realize.
I think everybody seems to focus ad nauseum on the, the assassination, the tragedy. My focus has always been on the background, on the other trips, and I just found it fascinating, just the whole. I don't know. I've just been very interested in Secret Service.
Those documents have now been released by the archives?
Yes, they have.
And the pictures have been released?
Yes, they have. They have Cecil Stoughton's call numbers. They have all the serial numbers and all that type of stuff.
I didn't realize that had all been released.
Yeah. Well, the JFK Library in Boston has the negative, supposedly. I was speaking to Alan Goodrich there, and he just basically says, well, you'd have to contact the archives to get print copies. I was like, oh, okay. Then he sent photocopies of this black and white stuff, and it does say, it has your name, Agent Zboril, and it says Agent Lawton, and it lists some of the agents who were on that trip. It is Walter Coughlin, Bert DeFries, Floyd Boring, and one of the
people who were on the detail at that particular time.
Yeah, your wife was saying that was your first trip, or did I hear on the last trip or something?
That was the last trip before the assassination.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was the last trip he had before he went to Dallas, and Dallas was the 3 or 4 or 5 days after that trip. I don't recall exactly.
Right.
What the amount of time before Dallas happened, but it was very short thereafter.
Well, Sam was telling me something that Mr. Lawton remembered this. You might remember this, an incident where someone threw a Powerhouse candy bar that landed on the follow-up car, and they mistook it for like a piece of dynamite or something, and they threw it off the car, and they all had to laugh because it turned out to be a candy bar. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that one at all.
Oh, yeah. They were saying something in the crowd, because the crowds were like really thick on certain parts. And
if Don and I were on the back of the car, and it landed on the follow-up car, we wouldn't have known about it.
Oh, okay. See, what I'm thinking is, because Sam was telling me something to the effect where, I guess Floyd Boring on this trip, what he would do is, intermittently, the agents would go back to the follow-up car, or, I don't know, is that, I don't know.
I thought Roy Kellerman was in the front seat of the limo, not Boring.
On the Florida trip?
Yeah, on the Tampa trip.
Oh, okay.
I thought that it was Roy Kellerman, not Floyd Boring, in the car.
Okay, well, you would know best. You were there. I wasn't.
Doesn't it mention Roy Kellerman?
No, like it's the document say ASAIC. I guess it's Assistant Special Agent in Charge.
Yes.
Okay, Floyd M. Boring. Driver William R. Greer.
Yeah.
Charles T. Zboril yourself. Donald J. Lawton. What's his name? Kenneth S. Gianolis?
Ken Gianolis.
Okay. It says Miami office, Charlie Howell
out of Miami. He must have been on a temporary assignment at that time.
It says Robert Jameson, too.
Jameson, okay. He must have been on the temporary because he wasn't on the detail at that time.
It says at the Armory, Ernie Aragon. Okay. Yeah. See, you know what's happening? I'll tell you, make a long story short, this stuff is really becoming hot property because, I don't know, the H Channel and the Discovery Channel had specials on the Secret Service. I don't know, did you wear those? Did you
I was wearing them, but I missed it.
Oh, I'll tell you what, unbelievable. See, that's my area of interest. I've always been fascinated. People are fascinated about, J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI and the CIA. I've always been interested. Ever since I used to watch the Wild Wild West as a young kid, I've always been interested in the Secret Service, although that was a fictional thing. So to make a long story short, this has been a dream here. I can't believe stuff. Like the other day, the Discovery Channel, who's on the TV to Winston Lawson and Floyd Boring, and it's just like unbelievable that these guys, after only years, are finally coming forward and speaking. Well, thank God they are, because it's good to counter a lot of the, pardon the phrase, a lot of the crap that's coming out, because there's been...
We were closed-mouthed for so long.
I guess what it is now is so many years have gone by, and it's not, it's a question of, setting the record straight, which is admirable, too. It's too bad that we did that about...
the only one that really did a lot of talking was Clint Hill.
Yeah.
Clint was the one that did a lot of the interviewing.
Well, it's a shame, but I felt so bad for him. He said 30 years of guilt, and he tore himself apart for nothing. I don't think that man, he should hold his head high. He did a lot of good,
He was the one that was able to react very quickly to that, situation. And he did. Clint made the car.
Yeah, he really did. That's amazing how when you see that he could have got...
He had the cover with the limo speeding up.
Yeah, he could have got hurt himself. Boy, if he would have fell off, he would have been run over. That's one thing. That's one thing Sam did mention. He says that he's lucky he didn't fall for Mrs. Kennedy didn't fall off. That was not something you could plan. That just happened on the spur of the moment,
Right. Are you doing an article, or are you going to be writing something on this?
Well, no, this is something that might just be for my own use. Like I said, it might not see anybody's eyes but my own. This is something that I'm working on. At the very least, it might make the university, like the little newspaper circulate in that area. But I was just blown away that Sam was such a nice... You're pretty open yourself, but Sam was very friendly. Like I said, the only thing he would say was he could tell by my voice that I was younger. So if you were that age, I'm sorry, but I would have had to hang up on you because I don't talk to anybody who has an axe to grind. I go, oh, okay.
Well, I don't either. I normally don't talk to anybody, and I haven't talked to anybody. You're the first person that I talked to, and I'm just a little, I'd like to help you out, but I'm a little hesitant about, saying a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay, well, no,
You've asked, and I talked about, the names confirmed. I will, but I just don't give any personal opinions.
well, sure, hey, that's
Sure.
fair enough.
If you can understand that.
Oh, without a doubt.
I'm very enthusiastic, and you don't sound like a reporter, but, tricked by reporters before. There's an old adage that we used in the Secret Service, I use, and a lot of other fellows probably don't. Don't believe anything you read and only half of what you see.
I'm sorry, but I would have to hang up on you because I don't talk to anybody who has an axe to grind. I said, oh, okay.
Well, I don't either. I normally don't talk to anybody, and I haven't talked to anybody. You're the first person that I talked to, and I'm just a little, I'd like to help you out, but I'm a little hesitant about, saying a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay, well, no,
You've asked, and I talked about, the names confirmed. I will, but I just don't give any personal opinions.
well, sure, hey, that's
Sure.
fair enough.
If you can understand that.
Oh, without a doubt.
I'm very enthusiastic, and you don't sound like a reporter, but, tricked by reporters before. There's an old adage that we used in the Secret Service, I use, and a lot of other fellows probably don't. Don't believe anything you read and only half of what you see.
Exactly. Well, you know what? I tell you what, Sarah McClendon, you familiar with that name, right?
I've spent years with her at the White House.
Yeah, Sarah McClendon and Merriman Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that name?
I remember those people. And Helen Thomas is still there. She's one of the old time. She's the oldest ranking.
Yeah, she's still here.
Yeah, she's still there. What is she, AP or UPI? One of those two.
Yeah, but one thing I just want to let you know, make a long story short, that's why I called Sam Kinney, because he was from the Florida area, because I have a relative down there. He said, you know what, there's a Samuel Kinney, because we were talking, I was like, you're kidding, he's in the phone book. And it just sprung from there, and then he told me about Mr. Lawton, and make a long story short, Mr. Lawton told me about, like, the general area where you might be, but he forewarned me, that don't be surprised if people hang up. And I said, well, no, I'm not asking anything, just other than something you could, like you said, that was a perfect way of describing it.
You're from Florida. Have you ever heard of Bonita Beach, by Naples and Fort Myers Beach? We have a place down there.
Oh, okay.
Brooksville, Florida.
Is that near Niceville, Florida? Is that anywhere?
No, Brooksville is 40 miles north on 41.
Okay.
I got relatives in that area.
How about Cocoa Beach? Anywhere around there? Or?
Well, Cocoa Beach, no, it's, you know Wikiwashi Springs?
That sounds familiar.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Cecil Stoughton, he's around that area too.
Is he?
Yeah, he's down there too. Yeah, in fact, I don't know if you're going to probably be interested. I know Mr. Lawton's probably going to get these documents too because they came out of the archives. But evidently this stuff's been buried all these years, and it's just tons of stuff on the newspaper articles cover. I don't know why it was all under seal. President Kennedy's trip to Tampa, Florida, and Miami. What was the big deal?
It probably had to do with the Warren Commission.
Oh, okay.
A lot of stuff that probably was given to the Warren Commission. Have you read the Warren report?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, Don Lawton and I are just subnotes because somebody else testified in behalf of us about what happened in Tampa.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you know about that? Is it true that President Kennedy really ordered the agents off the back of the limousine? Have you ever heard about that? Where allegedly Kennedy said, because in William Manchester says, quote, get these Ivy League charlatans off the back of my car. I mean, did you ever...
Did you read that?
In William Manchester's book, The Death of a President?
Look in the Warren report. It probably says the same thing.
Okay. But do you remember that in Florida? Would you order it off the back of the car, or...?
If you read it in the Warren report, that's what happened.
Okay, fair enough.
Me commenting officially.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm pretty sure it's there.
Okay.
So that, I'm talking to someone that I don't know.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I'm talking to you as frank as I can.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Committal. If you read it in there, and I'm saying it had happened.
Okay, yeah, because Clint Hill does bring it up in his Warren Commission testimony. Okay, because he's mentioned about Floyd Boring being on that trip. He was in the front seat. Hey,
Right.
Did you know Jerry Behn passed away a couple years ago?
Yes, I did. In fact, I was in Gettysburg for the reunion back in September with my wife, and Mrs. Behn was at that, Jean Behn was at the convention.
Oh, okay.
His wife was there,
Yeah, because you know what, that the Washington Post did an article. That's how I know about all that. Where they did a retrospective or something on him.
We here in Chicago, we don't see any of that.
Oh, okay.
We don't see any of that.
Because they said all the history. He guarded, a lot of people don't know, he guarded Winston Churchill and Queen Elizabeth when they came to America. and they were making a big write-up on it. I didn't know that, so I was like, whoa, this is pretty... Like I said, it must be the age of, coming forward with things that, like, normally didn't make the press, or for that matter, made the TV. And, like, I could a buddy of mine was like, hey, you're interested in the Secret Service? Well, there's a guy named... He butchered the last name, Behn. I said, no, you mean Jerry Behn. So there's an article in the Washington Post, and I was like,
you've done a lot of research to come up with all those names and all.
well, I tell you, like I said, I'm really interested in that time period. Like, I think about it, make an analogy you can see from my standpoint being, a young guy, not even around that time point. Just think about it if there was documentation on the Lincoln era. It wasn't Secret Service, but the guards, let's say. We know about Major Rathbone and things like that. Could you imagine how historically significant it would be to know the names and know some of the things about, the gentlemen, so on and so forth. And all that stuff is basically lost to history. We all know about Major Rathbone because of the tragedy, but we don't know about all the other, people around the time. And thank God there's National Archives, because if you do a Freedom of Information Act request and so on, you get the, documents come forward. And they have, and so right now I'm part of the mailing list, so they send me updates and they just let me know about the Tampa stuff, because I've been badgering that lady down there forever. Like, oh, do you have anything on it? He said, well, no, it's under seal. And then finally they came forward. So,
well, if you talk with we have a historian with the Secret Service.
Mr. Neal?
Yeah.
Here, Neal. He passed away.
No, not Neal. I can't think of his name right now.
Hamilton Brown?
Historian for the Secret Service and works out of headquarters. He might be interested in some of these things that you have.
Ooh, okay.
You might be helpful to him. And let me see if I have his name, because I did an interview with him when we were in Gettysburg.
Oh, that'd be great.
And you might be able to be helpful to him. The agents are helpful talking to you?
Oh, yeah, they're, like I said, only because I think what it is at the bottom line is, sir, is because of my age. I think that's the ticket, because I wasn't even born then.
Well, he probably does. But if you'll hold on, I'm going to put you on hold for just a second. I want to get this envelope.
Hey, thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
He's what we call our activist.
Oh, okay.
His name is Mike Sampson.
Oh, great.
He's in the Office of Governmental Liaison and Public Affairs.
Okay.
And his telephone number is 435, area code 202-435-5708. And he's the one that does all the history of the Secret Service and anything. And I imagine if you have some things that he isn't aware of, he would be very grateful to, give him this information and tell him that I gave you, his name for that particular matter.
Oh, this is fantastic. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, we have archives, in for the Secret Service, and he might even arrange for you to come over for a tour.
Oh, boy.
They've got all the history of the Secret Service in there.
Oh, my God. I tell you what, that's really nice of you. I tell you what, I'm going to give him a call. Very good.
Okay, and anything you have that I think might be interesting to me, I'd appreciate you sending it to me.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you want me to, I'll gladly do it. Yeah.
Okay, I'd be interested in it, but you can send it to me here at work.
Okay.
I'm acting director of security